Hey guys, welcome back. So today we're back out at the 1,000-yard range, and I brought out a few different rifles, but the rifle I brought out that I really wanted to shoot the most is my new Sig 551A1, which is a 5.56/223 rifle. It's based on the US-made 5.56 Sig rifle. However, it looks a lot like the 550, which the 5.56 is based upon. So this looks like the classic 550. It has a gray, I believe it's a Cerakote finish, which looks a lot like the original 550. Has the side folding stock. And I've put a 4-power ACOG on here. We just got it sighted in. I'm going to take it out, stretch its legs out a little bit, start shooting at 100, 200, 300, 400 yards, and see how it does. So far it seems to be shooting pretty well. And I'll give you some additional thoughts about the quality of construction and what I think about it. I know if you guys follow the channel, you remember I did a video a couple years ago about the 5.56R, which is a similar rifle to this, except chambered at 7.62 by 39. I kind of swore off Sig products after that, at least their rifles, and a lot of you guys have asked me to kind of revisit the product line, and this is a rifle that's always interested me. I've always wanted a 550, but they're $10,000 or more if you can even find an original Swiss-made rifle for sale. So this is as close as I'll ever come, most likely. So anyway, I'm pretty excited to have it. Let's do a little bit of shooting and see how it does.
The first step was to get the rifle sighted in at 25 yards. This allows me to make sure the rifle is on paper at 100 yards, which is the distance I intended to shoot the rifle at next. The ACOG worked well on the Sig rifle as it sat at a comfortable height. The trigger is spongy, heavy, and has a toy-like release. I'm accustomed to heavy military triggers, but the trigger on the Sig feels like nothing else I've ever shot. It's not impossible to work with, but it did take some getting used to. Recoil is light on the 5.51A1, so the muzzle rise is minimal. The recoil impulse is smooth and pleasant, and it's a fun gun to shoot. The Swiss-style folding stock is a bit short. It was actually a bit surprising to see just how short it was. I'm used to shooting AKs, and I've gotten used to their super short stocks, but it's not something I like on all my rifles. I would prefer the Sig 5.51 had another inch or so on the length of pull.
Wow.
I moved over to the 100-yard line and tried a couple of different flavors of ammo. I was able to get my hands on some 55 grain PMC ball and 62 grain green tip PMC X-Tac ammo from LuckyGunner.com. The accuracy was just okay, nothing special. I realized neither of these loads or the Wolf 55 grain that I sighted the rifle in with are considered match grade ammo. The PMC 55 grain and 62 grain loads hovered around the 3 to 4 inch group size range at 100 yards even when using a 4-power ACOG scope. That's not very impressive. I loaded the 5.51A1 with PMC X-Tac ammo and started shooting at the 24-inch steel ringer on the 500-yard line using the ACOG sight. I found that it was quite a bit more challenging to hit the ringer with the 5.51A1 than it was with the Arsenal Sam 7 SFAK or even with my Tavor. The Sig rifle just didn't have the same accuracy as the other two rifles at this range, which I found to be a bit surprising. Just for kicks, I decided to shoot the rifle at 1,000 yards using M196 5.56mm tracers. While I never scored a hit on the 3-foot ringer at 1,000 yards, it was fun watching the rounds trace down range through the spotting scope.
One of the things I like about the 551A1 is the magazine that it uses. It uses a Swiss-style magazine, which is very similar to an AK magazine in its use. To put the magazine in the gun, you have to put the toe of the magazine in first and rock it back. To release the magazine, you have a flapper release back here, much like an AK. You just pinch it, grab it with your thumb, and pull the magazine out. So if you're used to shooting an AK, which this rifle very closely simulates an AK, the bolt and everything else is directly borrowed from the AK itself. If you like using the AK, this manual of arms will be very familiar to you. Overall, I like that. That's the reason I wanted the 551A1. Charging the rifle is just like the AK. Once you get the magazine locked in, just do the AK roll, grab the charging bolt, pull it to the rear and let it go. Unlike an AK, you have an ambidextrous safety that's on both sides of the rifle. You can select the fire mode. Shooting the rifle is pretty comfortable. The recoil impulse is very light. It's kind of a delayed impulse. It doesn't feel much like an AK at all. Bolt locks to the rear when the gun is empty. I'm using HSGI Taco mag pouches here. And you'll need to use a magazine pouch like this if you want to have extra magazines on your body, simply because these are infinitely adjustable and work well with just about any magazine type. Grab your spare magazine, kick the magazine out, put the new mag in, release the bolt, and resume firing. Again, the bolt locks to the rear. Throw the magazine away, grab another one, and then you can also use the bolt release, which is on the left-hand side of the receiver, much like an AR-15. Hit that with your finger. That chambers the round, and the gun's ready to fire.
The rifle comes with a Diopter rear sight, which seems to be of good quality and has a solid design. The sight offers a Combat V notch and a peep sight that's calibrated up to 300 meters. The top of the rifle features a 1913 style rail, making the attachment of various types of optics very easy. If you're an experienced AK user, you will find the magazine changes on the rifle to be quick and easy to perform. The 5.51A1 offers improved ergonomics over the AK in my opinion, and is very comfortable for this long-time AK user to operate.
The 5.51A1 magazines are just like the Sig 550 mags that it borrows from. They're translucent, hold 30 rounds, and they have these little tabs here on the side. They appear on both sides of the magazine. That's so you can lock the magazines together. They clip together easily. Once you have them clipped together, you can insert them into the rifle like you normally would, charge your rifle, and fire. When the gun's empty, you just release the magazine, put the next magazine in, release the bolt, and resume firing. You can put as many magazines together as you like. There's no limit to the number you can clip together. The only thing limiting you is how wide you want your magazine stack. And of course, these magazines cost 40 some bucks a pop. They're not cheap. Field stripping the 5.51A1 is pretty simple. You can use a bullet. I'm going to use a 7.62 by 25 here. And it just has a push pin, upper and lower, much like an AR-15. You push the pins out, and the upper and lower receivers will separate. Here's your lower receiver. You set that aside. The upper receiver, to get the bolt carrier group out of the gun, there's a lever here on the bolt. You just push down on that with your thumb and pull the charging handle out of the bolt carrier. Now, the bolt will be free to ride out the rear of the receiver. Inside, you're going to find an AK-47. The bolt's very similar. Just push it back and turn it, and the bolt will come out. Taking a look at that thing, it looks just like an AK. You'll also notice I've been firing it quite a bit. The thing is filthy. So, no malfunctions so far. To get the gas system out of the gun, now this thing is hot. We've been firing it. You have a plug here. You can push down on this pin. It's really hot. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this for you guys. Push down the pin. Yeah, this is what I'll do. And then you can turn this gas piston plug to the disassembly mode here. Pull it out. Like I said, this thing is frickin' hot. And there's your gas piston and recoil spring. So that's pretty much all you need to do to field strip the gun and clean it. It's a very simple gun to maintain. I like that aspect of it quite a bit. There are some things I don't like about the 5.51A1. First of all, the handguards fit very loosely in the gun. I don't know if you can see that, but the handguards move back and forth quite a bit in the front. Also, there's quite a bit of movement between the upper and lower receiver. It rocks back and forth. And lastly, there's a lot of movement in the stock itself. I can wiggle the stock around quite a bit. As a matter of fact, the whole gun just rattles when you move it. Everything moves. When you put it in your shoulder and pull it in tight, the handguards move, the stock moves. It's just not a very solid feeling rifle. Functionally though, the rifle functions 100%. I fired a number of different types of ammunition through it, PMC ball, 55 grain, fired some 62 grain X-Tac. It eats up wolf like, you know, there's no tomorrow. The gun works great functionally. It just feels like an airsoft toy. It just moves around too much for my tastes. Now, the other thing that you'll notice is I have a piece of tape here behind the receiver, or behind the ejection port on the receiver. This tape is to keep the gun from damaging itself. When the gun fires, the brass comes back, or the steel cases if you're shooting wolf, and it hits the receiver right here, which is common with rifles. By no means is that unique to this gun, but it will damage the finish. So I just put a couple pieces of tape there to protect the gun from the brass coming out of the gun. Not too bad. The safety works as you would expect. It's actually in a good location, and the trigger is completely different feeling. I don't even know how to describe it. It's a light pull, a fairly crisp release, but it just has a spongy take up. It's just an odd feeling trigger, but you know, it works pretty good. I can't really complain about it. The stock has a push button here on the side, lets you fold it to the side. Now, again, this is something I'm not all that impressed with. To get the stock unfolded, it takes considerable force. Now, in my previous 556R, when I really had to pull on it like that, I could pull this tab out of the rear of the stock and it would stay stuck here and it would never work properly. This one hasn't had that problem. I can get it undone, but hopefully that'll break in with a little bit of use. So overall fit, not so hot. Finish is pretty nice. The Cerakote looks really good. It's a proper gray. Aesthetically, the rifle's very pleasing. I like the way the gun looks. I definitely like the way the magazines work. All right, guys, it's time for some final thoughts on the Sig 551A1. Overall, the rifle, the fit of the rifle is subpar in my opinion. The finish on the rifle is really nice. It appears to be a gray Cerakote finish. The rifle looks very good. I actually like the way the gun looks quite a bit. I'll never be able to get a real Sig 550, and that's why I wanted this rifle, and that's why Sig brought this rifle to market. They claim they wanted to sell it to law enforcement because law enforcement may like the 2 points of contact on the magazine, much like the AK, but I think it really is meant to appeal to collectors and people that really wanted a 550 Swiss-made rifle that just couldn't get their hands on one, people like myself. And this does scratch that itch for me. I do like the gun in that regard. Now, the rifle is also very expensive. It comes to market at over $1,700. It's actually one of the most expensive 5.56 rifles in the Sig lineup, even more so than its DMR rifle. So it's an expensive itch to scratch, so to speak. But if you have the money, you know, you may want to consider buying one. My friends over at One Source, Suarez International, hooked me up with this rifle. They don't normally stock these, I don't believe. They ordered one specially for me. I did buy the rifle. This is my personal gun. And, you know, I'll probably keep it. I'll keep shooting it. I'll keep you guys informed as to the progress with the rifle as I put more and more ammunition through it. The accuracy, I'm not all that impressed with. It's about as good as an AR-15. People talk about how accurate these rifles are. I haven't really seen any impressive accuracy out of it, just average accuracy. But I have to try some different ammunition. I don't have any match ammo right now. It's still kind of hard to find and very expensive. But again, I'll keep you guys updated. And where I'll keep you guys updated is on the Bang Switch. You can find us on the Bang Switch at www.thebangswitch.com. I'll put a link down below. I'll put some more information about this rifle there in a write-up that I'll do here in a few days. If you guys have any questions about this rifle, you can ask those questions on our Facebook page. You can find us on Facebook at www.facebook.com/military arms. Thanks for watching, everybody, and I will talk to you guys soon.